Oh, piece of shit. Oh no! Has this ever happened to you? Stay tuned for a product that will solve this problem and every other problem you've ever had, coming up next on Goldwing Docs. Hi, I'm Scott. Welcome to Goldwing Docs. I have a long history with cameras on a stick. And the idea is that you have a screen and then you can put a camera somewhere else and see on the screen what you're looking at. So when you drop fasteners down in somewhere and you can't even see where they are or you can't reach it, you can actually get the camera down in there and see where your lost bolt or screw has actually fallen so you know how to get it. Of course, they're far more useful than that. You can use it to see anywhere you want to see that you normally can't get a mirror or an inspection mirror in, or sometimes you have to do it by feel. Sometimes you can actually reach in and feel what it is you're trying to work on, but you can't see it. And it's really tough if you can't see what you're doing. So having a second set of eyes close up in there to see what you're working on can be really helpful. I started with this Harbor Freight Cheapie here. I think I bought this probably 15 years ago. At the time, it was not a bad deal. It was a decent quality unit. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was terrible quality, but it's Harbor Freight. It was good for Harbor Freight. So the idea is that you have this gun-looking thing here, which has the batteries and the light and electrical connector on the end, and then you have the camera on a stick, which is this here, and then you have a separate monitor which you can actually put on the back of the gun unit here, and you can look at the picture on the monitor and see what you're looking at. Of course, it's a tiny little screen, and the resolution was horrible. I think it's like a 240 by 160 pixel resolution. Absolutely terrible. It was wireless, so you could put manipulate the gun in one place, and it transmits the signal to the screen wirelessly, so you could have the screen up somewhere else. The end of the camera does have a light. It's quite wide. It's about the width of your finger, so it is tough to get into some narrower spots. There's a little camera at the end. It's nice and stiff, so you can manipulate it around and get it in places, which is nice. It did come with some accessories like this little mirror you can stick on the end so that if you need to look at a right angle of where you're putting the camera into, you can put that on there like that and look at right angles. You also get some tools like a hook and so on, so you can put that tool on there. So if you need to grab something, say you drop something in there, you're going to get in there close with the camera, see what you're hooking, and then pull it out. For its time, this was a useful tool. When I bought this house, I put an alarm system into it, and I had to pull a ton of cable throughout all the walls and everywhere. And this was really useful because I could get it up inside a wall and see what my cable was snagged on. So for that kind of purpose, it was not bad. It still works today. It's not ideal. The resolution is pretty awful, but it's definitely helpful. I used this on my Goldwing when I had to get the shaft back in the swing arm. I couldn't get the spline of the drive shaft into the end of the universal joint because the splines weren't lining up correctly, and the universal joint had flopped down. So I used this camera, shoved it up in there, and I could see, oh, that's what's wrong. Let me manipulate it, and it helped get the thing in there and saved me hours of work. So a useful tool. Then I wanted something with a little better resolution, and these came out, and they were really cheap. You could get these on Amazon for $20 or $30, and what it was just basically a camera on one end and a USB plug on the other. You could plug it into a computer, or the idea was your cell phone. I never actually got it to work with a computer. I did get it to work with a cell phone. As you can see, the camera is much thinner. It's, compared to the size of my finger, it's not even half the diameter of the old one from Harbor Freight. It too has lights at the end. The wire is not as stiff as the other one, so it takes a little bit of work to get things in and around. It was usable. The wire is very long. The problem with this is that it uses a cell phone for its screen. And when whatever random Chinese company made this thing, they brought out an app that you could run on the cell phone that would work with it so that you could view what the camera was looking at, and you could take pictures and take video and so on, and that it worked reasonably well. However, then the random Chinese company disappeared. The app was no longer supported on newer versions of Android. So when I got a new phone, this was garbage. I couldn't use it anymore because the app didn't work anymore. So that was no good. It too came with the accessories like the little hook and the little right angle mirror and that sort of thing. And this has saved me several times. I was pouring oil into my daughter's engine on her car, and I didn't know that she had taken the foil lid of the oil can and ripped it, and a piece fell in there. And as I was pouring it, I watched a piece of foil fall into the engine. So I actually had to take things apart, and I used this to thread down in there and actually grab that piece of foil so it didn't go in and clog the engine. So as you can guess, where this is leading is to what I just got now. So I got this from Amazon, and it's $60, so not bad. It's a rechargeable camera that has an even smaller little camera on the end of it. So if you look, the diameter of this thing is just tiny. It should be able to fit into just about anywhere. It too has lights on the end, and it has a screen. So it has the screen as part of the camera itself. If we turn it on, however we turn it on, there's the button on the side. We have a light on the side here. We can make it bright or dim as need be. I can dim it down or brighten it up. And what you get is a picture of whatever the camera is looking at on the screen. And it's a pretty decent resolution picture. Now, one of the problems you come up with these cameras is that you never know which direction the camera is pointed. So when you push it in to your spot where you're trying to look at, and you're trying to figure out what you're looking at, and you realize, oh, it's upside down. So maybe you're gonna try to turn the camera, and that doesn't work. And then so you're trying to like bend your head around and guess what it is you're looking at. If you are looking at something that's upside down or whatever, you can just push this button and rotate it, and it rotates the image around. So instead of twisting the camera around, you just push that button. If you do get an image of something you want to look at, you can press freeze frame, and then it snaps a picture of that and holds it in place. It does have an SD card in it, and it comes with it, so that if you see something you want to take a picture of, you can just point it, hit the button, and it takes a picture of it, and then you can later just push the playback button here, and you get the picture that you took a picture of on, and you can actually go through all the different pictures you've taken. You've seen me taking some pictures of my bike from far away. Obviously, it's not meant for taking pictures far away, so the focus is not great, and that's something I should bring up. The focal length of the Harbor Freight Cheapie was quite a ways. You had to be several inches away or it was out of focus. The mystery Amazon Chinese one was better, but this one is by far the best. You can get right up close to things. So, I mean, I can get less than an inch away. If I take a picture of this, I'll grab a snapshot of this, and you'll see just how close you can get up and look at things. The wire itself is fairly stiff, so unlike the Amazon Chinese mystery one, you can actually form it how you want it to go, and I can push it down in places and get a good look at things. So I could push this down in here and look at, I don't know, bundles of wires or whatever it is I want to see in my motorcycle. I can see, let's see, there's the, is it the brake line going down there? Let me take a picture of that. So yeah, I got a picture of my brake line that I can look at later. So this is really useful, and for $60, you can't go wrong with this. It's battery powered, it's rechargeable. You just plug it in the USB connector and it charges back up. You got a little memory card, you can copy images off. It does come with a little tube of accessories. You get a right angle mirror, you get a little hook, and you get a little magnet so you can use it to get down in places and pick up dropped fasteners. It also has a dubiously useful feature where if you push this light button on the front, you get a little flashlight on the back. It's not very bright, but I suppose if you're in a dark area, it'd help you find something. I don't know. I don't know why they put a light on, but it has one. So here I've got this old lawnmower that's seen better days, and I've taken the spark plug off, and let's have a look and see what we can see inside the cylinder. So you can actually use this as a type of bore scope. There we go. Okay, so here's my old Toro lawnmower, and I've just pulled the plug out of it, and I've had push into the plug hole. We can see a bit of a valve. We can see there's a valve right there. You can see the valve's actually open right now. If we look down here, we can see the piston. Now there is a bit of a moire effect because of the way the screen is showing and being captured by my camera. That's not there in real life. Unfortunately, that's what I'm going to see here. But if I capture this image here, press this button, you can see the image it captures doesn't have that effect on it. But yeah, I get a pretty good look at inside the cylinder. I can see all the carbon, all the deposits. Oh, look at that. All that carbon deposit on there. So this lawnmower's had a hard life, as you can tell. I'm going to put a link to this in the description below because honestly, for $60, this is a no-brainer. Go out and grab yourself one of these things. You will save yourself so much time and aggravation and curse words from when you lose things and you can't figure out where they've gone, or you're trying to work in places where you can't see. It's really, really a handy item. Well, I hope you like what you saw here today. If you did, please click like, subscribe, click that little bell. It gets you a notification every time we post one of these fantastic videos. If you like what you saw or didn't, maybe have comments, questions, leave them in the comments section below. And of course, don't forget to check out the Goldwing Docs website. 94,000 Goldwing owners, members just like you, friendly people just waiting to say hello. Thanks for watching. For f***'s sakes. So I can push it down in here and look at